All right, Bill. After such a delay and such terrible producing on my part, we are finally here live. Wow, for another episode of the Bill DeMott Experience.
No, man, you listen. If it takes a couple extra minutes to get this thing going, like we say it all the time at the end, and I thank you all the time. But everybody has to understand what you've been doing. I mean, catch everybody up on what you've been doing, and this delay that I know bothers you personally, but it's not a big delay. Tell everybody what you're doing.
Well, I'm almost to the point where I have it streamed across every social media platform. But in order to do that, I have so many workarounds I have to do, and it's absolutely kicking my butt. But that's essentially what's happening. So I'm running out in the other room. I'm starting it, changing diapers in the meantime, running around like a madman, doing 3 or 4 other podcasts. I'm just doing it all, Bill.
Wait a minute.
Just doing it all.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me and everybody who's tuning in here that this isn't your only thing you do?
This is not.
You have a job and a family and kids and obligations and everything else?
And a bunch of other content creation. Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
I
know. Dude, but I am here finally. Sorry for the delay. Man, but I'm here. How are you doing, Bill?
Man, I'm doing great. Thursdays are it, dude. That's the highlight. And so I got to start off by thanking you and apologizing for last week. December's I've been bamboozled for the past 20 plus years. December 14th is Lacey's birthday, which was last week.
Right.
So I sent you the message going, I have to take my wife out to dinner. Please excuse me.
Well, first of all, you asked my permission to take your wife.
I did ask my permission.
You asked my permission, man?
That's awesome. That's respect.
Yeah. No,
it's the 14th is her birthday. Then 4 days later, December 18th is our anniversary. Then it's Christmas. I mean, December, I'm taking the proverbial butt whooping. I've been trying full disclosure, I've been trying for 20 years to convince her to let me combine everything into one present, one gift, one celebration.
You let me know when you figure out how to do that, and I will.
Well, it hasn't worked. So just so we're clear, it hasn't worked. So anybody who's listening to this, that's a big fail.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, if you're listening to us, we are live. This is the Bill DeMott Experience. We had a lot of streaming going on right now, everybody. So a lot of people on Facebook, a lot of people on Twitter, people on TikTok. Couldn't quite get Instagram done. Quite frankly, I just ran out of time. But it's another workaround for Instagram. So this week they released the live streaming for the studio like we're doing on Instagram, but It's another workaround just like TikTok, dude. So there's no easy way.
But 2024 is our year, and we're really gonna take off, man.
And we're gonna take off. We're growing. It's growing. The podcast is growing. It's amazing. But let's start off by talking about some of the stuff you've been doing. You've been doing a lot of stuff with toy drives, man. It is the season.
Yeah, I mean, as a dad, as well as I do as a dad. Hey, Noah. I see Noah. I know Noah Ford for quite a while. Has been following me, so thanks for tuning in, buddy. Keep sharing it. Let everybody know where we're at, and I hope we're entertaining you. Yeah, so, the holiday season, as dads, we know there's nothing better. Like,
right.
It's just that time. But what the foundation has done, we partnered starting back 3, maybe 4 years ago with an organization run here called Baby DJ, and it's run by one of the top DJs in Central Florida, Johnny Magic. So that's Johnny's go-to, and we're always proud. We delivered over 200 and something toys, unwrapped toys for Baby DJ, and I think they are going for this is their biggest year of reaching out to families in need and people who just aren't able to provide what they'd like. So I think by the end of the holiday season, they're going to reach close to 4,000 wishes, which is unreal. So all the things that the foundation does throughout the year, this is the one joy. This is one of the joys we have as a family. The foundation and the community really gets together, and we really had an outstanding turnout. So, and I know people are doing it all over the country. So yeah, it's great. But that's who we partner with, and always excited to deliver those toys and to know that families and kids and everybody are going to have that holiday season they deserve. So really cool.
So Christmas is a big thing around the DeMott Mansion. So you're telling me?
Christmas is a big thing around the DeMott Mansion until this year. We had a huge setback this year, and I guess I should just talk about it right away. The squirrels have eaten my wife's Christmas lights.
Oh, yeah. The squirrels can do that.
Lacey goes out of her way to decorate the house and the awnings, and she literally climbs 25 feet in the air on the ladder and does the palm trees. We have two big, so she does all these LED lights and everything. We have.
Yeah, I pictured you doing it. It was like Christmas Vacation, like Chevy Chase.
Oh yeah,
that's what I pictured.
First of all, I'd still be on the ladder. But we got all the stuff done. It lit up the first night, and then the second night it only half lit up, and we come to find out we're looking. Yes, the squirrels, Noah. And so the squirrels started. So what they're doing is they're chewing about pieces. If you can see me, they're chewing about 5-6 inches of wire.
Oh yeah.
Off of different places, and I don't know where they're taking it. So Christmas is big around the DeMott Mansion, except this year the house is not lighting as the boss would like.
Those squirrels can wreak some havoc when they get into some stuff. I had a squirrel get into my attic once. My wife and I just rented ex-wife and I just rented a house. Before we bought our house, it was the house we rented right before. Those things got in there, dude, and they just wreak havoc, man.
I'll tell you, I have 3 words for you. BB gun. Is that 3 words?
Problem is, how they got in there was through like a tiny opening in the roof. And they, it was like where the siding meets the roof in this old house.
It's amazing the damage they can do.
Well, the attic, it was not like an attic you go walk in. Like it was spray and insulation attic. So you can't see them.
Okay.
And more dangerous. You see what I'm saying? So old house, old attic. You can't just go up there and raise hell. Like they just hide in the freaking,
they watch you and laugh at you.
Basically is what they're doing. Yeah. Well, man, I have agenda for us tonight. It's not too packed. If we have a little bit of time, we're going to record some extra Christmas content, but I already held us up. I might hold you up even later tonight. We'll see, Bill. But dude, we're going to start this episode off like we do every episode. We're going to talk about CM Punk.
All right.
So it's not necessarily about CM Punk, but I wanted to share this clip because it relates to CM Punk, but because to me, it's like very telling of a problem we often see in the content creator community, in particular, really pro wrestling content creator community. Yeah, this is a clip from the Road Dogg's podcast. I know you know Road Dogg.
I love him.
Currently employed by WWE, right? So what's happened is he's been very vocal of CM Punk in the past. And this is him explaining when they finally came face-to-face backstage after Punk's arrival in the company. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
If anybody is a listener of this show, they know you have spoke your mind about many people, including one CM Punk. Well, now that you are back, you said traveling more, being around the shows more and events more, you have now run into the one and only Mr. CM Punk backstage. Is that correct, Steve?
That is a safe assumption. So I won't go into the details, but I will tell you that he and I, the first time I saw him, and he was sitting at a catering table, and he and I met eyes, and he stood up, and we shook hands, and we kind of didn't say anything for a minute, and then he literally, and I feel safe sharing this because I shared it with him face to face the following day, how impactful it was. He literally like shrugged his shoulders and went like, "Oh, come on," and pulled me in and hugged me, and I'll I'll tell you the truth. It made me feel immediately like an a-hole, like I'm a piece of crap. It humbled me in myself, if that makes sense. I don't know how else you could humble yourself, but it humbled me in a way where I thought, I have talked negatively about you and I've thought negatively about you, and then you embrace me, and wow, you know what I mean? And look, it may not mean anything to anybody else. It may not mean a thing to you or to Dom or to anybody listening. But to me, it meant a lot. And truth be told, I almost started crying because it was a bit of an eye opener about it. I'll tell you this: it immediately made me feel like no matter what the other person has done, no matter what other people have said or done, or you thought they did, or I thought they did, or whatever, to have that in my head and heart is only hurting me. You know what I mean? It ain't bothering him none. It ain't bothering you any. It's only in my head and heart, and that's negativity. It made me feel good for him to do that. By the way, it made me feel really good, but it made me immediately feel like ashamed of my behavior, not his behavior, not anything he'd done, but of it made me ashamed of my behavior. And so I don't know. We then had a couple of look. I believe God works in mysterious ways, and He worked that weekend.
I think for me, the reason I wanted to share this is because we see a lot of these wrestling podcasts, and this is, I guess it's more than wrestling, but as it relates to wrestling podcasts, you often just have them have people shooting on, they'd say, one another. We certainly don't hold back things on the Bill DeMott Experience, but we don't go out of our way to create that kind of content.
Right.
So I think, and you didn't know is the name of the podcast if you didn't know, Bill. Road Dog. So if you like Road Dog, you'll definitely like that podcast, because that's exactly what it is. Him and Conrad Thompson family just having fun. But Bill, it's a good moment there, and a realization that, you know, the things we say, the things we do the words we say hold some power and lasting effect.
The best part about that, what's really cool to me and what resonates most with me is, one, I know Brian for so long, and Brian and I traveled together, and when Brian came back as a producer, him and I traveled together and did a lot of work together, and I got to know Brian as I knew, you know, all the Armstrong boys and Bullet very well. But it, like Punk said in his promos the past couple of weeks, he said, I've changed, right? He's changed, and things in the, and so it's pretty much what Brian's just confirming. Listen, as wrestlers, and excuse me, I have Red Hots. By the way, my son found these Red Hots, old school Red Hots.
Well, I got you waiting so long, you needed a snack.
And so I just started sucking on the Red Hots, so now I have hot cinnamon. But anyway, like, and to Brian's point, we all grow up. I mean, we've all been on the road up and down together. We've all had the same life experiences, but we all have difference of opinions and, you know, our thoughts on how the business should be and how people should act. And Brian would be the first one to tell you, and I don't want to speak for him, but he's not standing on a soapbox throwing stones at anybody. He wouldn't throw it himself.
Right.
Nor would I. I would never, you know, say, oh, this guy did, but I'm guilty of the same thing. So I think when you come to those moments, and there's no better reassurance of the maturity of both Punk and Road Dogg, and for that conversation, even a lot more people in the back, you know, who've been around WWE for so long, and now that Punk's back, who knows how many more of those conversations have been had. But it's so nice to know that, hey, listen, let's work together, right? And I always say, we don't have to break bread. We don't have to, you know, beat each other's house on the holidays and Easter Sunday and all these things. And we don't have to go to church together and all these things, but let's get along. Let's be human. And it's not, you know, looking at his face and hearing him. And if you know Brian, what a weight that's been lifted off him. Now he doesn't carry that around. And to me, there's no bigger thing a man can do than look at another man and go like this? Shrug your shoulders and go, come on, dude. And I love it. So, and here's the good part. It wasn't a storyline, right? It's just Brian giving you the reality of people change. I changed. He's changed.
Yeah.
Let's do business. Let's move on in a positive way. And so great way to start the show. And it's a great way to start the end this year going into the new year.
Last week, we won't show the clips, but when I did do some prep work before we didn't end up recording, but just piggybacking on the CM Punk stuff, I did have a part of that clip from him and Seth Rollins when he first got in the ring with him, and it was a good exchange there. So
yeah,
seems as if everything's going well.
Listen, this is the most that you've heard about CM Punk with no negativity. Because at the end of the day, and you and I talk about this and I say this all the time, it's business. And if you can do business and we can get along and everybody can, the whole kumbaya thing, then there's money to be made. And there's good things that are going to come from it. So, and from what I understand and what I read and listen to on other podcasts is people in AEW are generally happy for Punk and what he's been doing. So I think animosity is only there for people who like to hold on to it. But it's good to see that all the positive stuff that's coming out of this.
Yeah, I agree. It's neat. I think that, obviously when you bring that some sort of, and it wasn't negative attention this time, right? Like him coming back. When you bring that sort of attention in media, if some people would say any attention's good. I don't know about that, but I will say that it's hard to argue with the eyes he's brought onto the project, sort of product with the ratings and just obviously the social media record-setting, absolutely insane stuff that we covered, I don't know, several episodes ago now. But
and how about everyone else? All the other talent on that roster seem to have stepped their game up. Because there's a fire lit under WWE between Orton and Punk and AJ Styles and Roman Reigns and all these things that are going on. Do I have any animosity? No, I have no animosity with CM Punk at all.
Someone asked, do you have any? Yeah, Noah asked if he had any animosity towards.
Yeah, none. All my encounters with Phil have been positive. He's always been really cool to me, around me, and nothing but respect for him. And even when we talked about, the negative things that were happening in AEW, it wasn't directed at Phil. It was just directed at, come on, let's find the happy place. And it seems like he's found his, which has allowed everybody to find theirs. And maybe the wrestling community will now stop looking for the other shoe to drop and just enjoy what's happening now.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't have any. I'm a no CM Punk.
You're a huge CM Punk.
Huge. Yeah, I was a big Ring of Honor guy back in the day. For you listening, if you're just joining us for the first time, I was a huge Ring of Honor guy 20 years ago, big time.
Oh, I'm gonna go down the Ring of Honor rabbit hole tonight.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, we've been down those before. Let's go to the next topic that I have here. See here. Okay, so this is an article, of course, from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. My friends at the Wrestling Observer newsletter, who I will say it every episode, they have me blocked social media. It's okay, though. Okay, so Bill, I don't know if you heard about this, some Warner Brothers Discovery news. Last time we recorded, one of our main topics was actually that the discussions were back on, right?
Yep.
Come to find out that CM Punk is actually to connect the bridge. A lot of people have been asking, does he really have that much power? Well, he had enough power at least to get a conversation started between the two again.
Yeah.
It's been said, at least, from the reports at least. So yeah, man. So there's a lot of new stuff coming out with Warner Brothers Discovery. So, as the article says here, they're discussing a corporate merger between the two companies, the two being Paramount Plus and Warner Brothers Discovery. It's been reported that both CEOs met earlier this week on Tuesday, discussed the matter over several hours and how they could complement each other and complete this business transaction. But as pointed out in the article, the market cap is currently this is a Wrestling Observer article, WBD's market cap is currently $29 million, while Paramount Plus is at $10 million. Apparently, Warner Brothers has actually hired a banker firm, to evaluate this merger. So it's apparently in the works, at least. They have several networks that oversee the Max streaming service, while Paramount Plus owns their own movie studio, CBS cable networks, and other streaming services. They are one of the several NFL right holders. You don't see a lot of that being streamed right now. There are a few, but Paramount Plus primarily owns that, along with NCAA basketball partnership rights. And they've actually started streaming that stuff on their platforms. I don't know if you have those platforms, but I do, Bill. It's also noted that both companies carry major debt loads and are losing the streaming wars to Netflix, hence why consolidation is being considered. I don't want to go into this too much, but there's obviously a lot at stake for this. It's for the landscape, I guess, of pro wrestling. I think, and we talked about this before, if AEW were to lose that, that'd be very impactful. Come to find out, it's possible that Warner Brothers Discovery, being they, pronouns pal, have some ownership in AEW. It's not confirmed, nor will we ever know. It's not a publicly traded company. We don't have to know, nor will we. But that's also a possibility out there. So that kind of keeps that relationship, I guess, a little bit more intact, possibly.
Well, I think I'm going to put this bit of news, to me, is the equivalent of a weatherman saying it's a possibility of rain. Until we know where it's going to go, where they're shopping it, I think these conversations always help, right? And if something's in play, that makes more people interested. I think it's fair to also put up next to this that the Bill DeMott Experience and Jeff Townsend are in talks with Discovery and Paramount about joining their live stream too. So that puts us in play, which that's my analogy. I think if people are saying it, it must be true. But I always look at these early conversations and posts, and people, they want to make hey, let me get the news out. Until there's something, everything's always in play. But this Warner Brothers thing seems to have a lot of smoke behind it. So it's 2000, and let's not, right? Because Raw's there until October of 2024.
Correct.
So
they're being USA.
Yeah, there's still a long way to go yet. So this is just early news, but it's good news, and it's when things are hot and in demand, nothing bad's going to come out of it.
There's a lot of thought, really, though, that since NBC has paid all that money for SmackDown, they probably can't for Raw, which makes sense. That's a lot of money we're talking here. Raw's going to be even more than what was SmackDown's, 1.5 billion.
Yeah, we're talking about a lot of money here.
So yeah, it's going to be a little bit more than that. Yes. But I mean, we talked about last time. Really seems like FX Disney was kind of leading the front of that. A lot of people are acting like we're going to know any minute now. To your point, last time we recorded, probably we don't need to know that soon. We actually have plenty of time. So I'm not expecting an immediate answer.
I would imagine, like, here's my fast forward. Let's go ahead 6 months or so. I think the next thing we're going to hear about the Raw brand is it may be going back to 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big part of the negotiations and where it winds up.
This is also a big thing because obviously CBS is has some sports platform to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a WWE would need anything like that, but could an AEW benefit from the resources at hand from also a CBS on top of a Warner Brothers Discovery? Could that be beneficial to AEW?
Yeah.
I think that it could be. I don't know what all that would entail or what kind of business crossings you would do with that. You got to be careful mingling too much together, but I don't know. I'm excited. It's just got to be weird though if it's not on the USA Network. I mean, but it's coming to the realization quickly here that it doesn't seem like it's going to be. And I just think it was strange that I don't know the cost of NXT. From what I've read, it's not crazy high.
Right.
And it was weird to me that NBC didn't pick up NXT. Maybe WWE wanted to try something different, I don't know.
Yeah. And maybe they wanted to keep it off their I don't know what the right term is, like their main network or something, branch it out somewhere else. The bottom line for us, you and I and the wrestling community, is there's big things coming across the board, whether it's AEW, NXT, all these WWE. If people are talking about more streaming and more opportunities, here, and I'm just going to be honest, here's what we're not going to be talking about when this happens. We're not going to be talking about how excited we are. We're going to be talking about all the people that are negative because they have to learn to watch wrestling on a different night or a different format. But I think it's all good news, and like this coming up year could be a hot year all the way around in wrestling for all companies. So.
I think so too. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that curious to see what happens. I think it could be beneficial to both sides. Something's going to happen different, though, I do think.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to accept that. It's going to be really different. Next thing I have for us to talk about here, this is pretty cool. I didn't know if you had heard anything about this, so I figured I would bring it up here and see if you can see where I'm going with it. If I can find it here. Here we go. This is off of a no DQ who's quoting PW Insider. WWE reportedly signs a fourth-generation star in the NXT brand.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this?
Yeah.
I'll let you describe who it is.
I'm familiar. I mean, for fans of the industry, the business, I mean, you should, if they have not had the opportunity to see Fit Finley work, they sure as anything have heard his name. Now grooming and building the future of the business as he has been for the past 15 years behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
But his sons, I mean, David's been over in Japan doing his thing, and now Brogan is, now they're reporting that Brogan has signed his developmental deal. And it's one of those things, like you have to hope that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because Fit Finley, I was watching, here's the thing, I was watching NXT this week, and I saw the spot the girls were running, Tiffany Stratton and the other girl, and they do this apron spot where she slides through and in underneath the apron and a spot comes out of it. That's vintage Fit Finley. And I can see the influence he has on the men and women in NXT and how they're getting groomed to be better performers and better storytellers at what they do. And their physicality is stepping up because you can see the influence of their coaches. So the Finley boys being signed at developmental, it's a win-win. And here's the honest thing of it is, you can't lose by signing them. If they're at least the equivalent of their dad, it's a win-win and the future's bright. Same as Regal's kid who's there.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't pan out, there's nothing lost in the investment. Does that make sense? And I think that's always the always looking at it. Okay, if we make this investment, what's the upside downside? There's no downside. Will they become the Rock or Stone Cold? Who knows? But if they're at least as good as their dad, you've got two more future superstars in the developmental system. So I think it's great. And it's about time. Like, I hope they keep, I know they won't maintain the Finley name. That's always been my personal pet peeve, is you have these second, third, fourth generation wrestlers in the business and their names change and all this stuff. And I get it because of intellectual property and blah, blah, blah. But man, there's such a build to that. If it's Finley and the Finley boys and, I go back to Kurt Hennig and Joe Hennig, instead of calling him Curtis Axel.
So weird, wasn't it?
He should have ran with the name. So and see, I always go down a different road, but I'm excited to see what the Finley boys do in 2024. They come in way ahead of a lot of other people because they've watched their dad, they've been coached by their dad, they learned from their dad. So they're not only going to be very good physically, but they're going to understand the business and have a better education starting off than most.
If you're listening to us live, appreciate it. I see a lot of comments, a lot of stuff coming in. I'm looking at it and multitasking here. Appreciate it from everybody.
That's
Do you have some questions? We'll get to it here a little bit. They're piling up. That's fine. We will get to it. We won't ignore it. I think for me, and the thing with Fit Finley and like what blew my mind here is I actually didn't realize it was a fourth generational thing. I obviously know Fit Finley's work, watch a lot of his stuff from the past, but as you know, I do like some of that stuff from the time period also. But I didn't realize it was a fourth generation thing. That's what kind of I got lost at the third, I guess. I didn't realize there was another.
It's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool to know that family and the lineage, you know, just like it was Larry Henning, Kurt Henning, then Joe Henning, you know, so and look at Natty Neidhart and, you know, all the things that come, Davy Boy Smith Jr. and all these young cats that are now leading the way. So you see Regal's boy doing his thing, and right, Charlie Dempsey, I think they call him in NXT, right? That's Regal's boy. And then you got you know, so there's going to be some headbangers in NXT. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that changes the landscape a little bit.
Yeah, let's talk about NXT because I don't have it on the agenda to get back to NXT. Man, Survivor Series match was awesome. I don't know if we really talked. Yeah, we talked about. No, we didn't. Not Survivor Series. The what was that pay-per-view? Talked since then. Crap. I feel like an idiot. Was that match not awesome though, or what?
So here's
the men's, Swerve Strickland. That was so well put together.
Yeah, I thought it was the Contenders match, right? Somebody tell us
that's what it was for. Yeah, it was for being the
Yeah, it was great, and so here's the problem I had with NXT, right? And when I say problem, it's not like I'm never watching it again, that kind of problem. The problem I have is like the same storyline that's Trick and Mello are telling.
Yeah,
it's now the storyline that the two Cowboys are telling. Now
there's suspicion of that at least,
you know, and give me that separation because it's so good. Now I feel like they're prostituting the same storyline in different parts. That being said, that's the issue I have with it. The other thing is I felt like this week they went through a couple matches really, really quick.
Yeah.
Just to get them on. And it's a great problem to have when you have so many talent that you try to give everybody an opportunity. But we lost a good 5 or 6 minutes with that Tiffany Stratton and the other young lady who I think are amazing. And I think this is the time for Tiffany Stratton, especially in a bad comparison to me. But Charlotte being hurt, this opens the door for a Tiffany Stratton to step into the main roster. And I'm a big fan of the Kiana James, I think is her name.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of those women. But I felt like this week they really tried to put that 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag and really overloaded it and didn't give us a chance to let a lot of it sink in. They ended the show well with Dragunov and Rich Holland. It'll be interesting to see where that goes. I'm lost on the one storyline that loses me. I'm lost on it. I've lost my interest. Me personally, is the Eddie Thorpe and Dijak.
Yeah.
I've lost it because I just don't feel like they're, I don't know,
jiving all the way.
Yeah. I think they're force feeding it to us. But overall, I think the show's been great. I like what they're doing. A lot more backstage stuff. They're giving people time to get seen and noticed, so you're not just throwing them out there willy-nilly cold. I think the young studs that they're grooming now that are coming up are really good. So I the NXT product right now a lot.
Coming from a guy who helped get NXT going, do you look at it like you just said? You just basically said they're giving the developmental people time. Do you look at it as a developmental show when you watch it?
I think
would you know if you did? I don't know if you knew if you did.
I still look at it that way because there's I don't know how to say, like, being in that system for so long and doing the things that I did there, I see where they're still grooming them. So I think for me, it's different than when you watch it because I was in the system. I ran the system. I built the system. So I understand what they're doing with it. But I think as a fan watches it, I don't think it's a developmental system. You have legitimate stars. They're getting their reps in because they do their Florida tours and then they do their paid live events all over the country now. So I think it's a developmental system for some, and it's a place for the ones that are ready or getting ready to stay polished instead of just sitting on the bench waiting to get a phone call. So
Yeah.
I still look at it as the behind the curtains as a developmental, but when I watch the product, I don't go, oh, that's why I say I like what they're doing and giving everybody an opportunity to show their characters and their promise and things like that. And some will click and some won't, just like the main roster or any other wrestling company.
We had a really good conversation, and if you haven't heard it, those listening, I encourage you to go back and check out the episode where we talked about if we thought that Ring of Honor could kind of morph into or AEW could benefit from having a feeder system, a developmental league. So sometimes I watch the Wrestling Observer, the show with Brian Alvarez and Mike. During the day, they have like a wrestling news section.
Yeah.
We share it on here frequently with those two guys. I tried to pitch this in the chat, Bill, and it did not go over well.
Oh, they didn't like the idea.
Not in the chat. No, they didn't like it. The AEW fans didn't like it.
Well, because then and here's why the fans don't like it, because now you're taking away their rebelisms, right? They're going to change the face of pro wrestling. They like the wrestling they like. No one said it has to be a developmental system like WWE's. It has to be an AEW developmental system where you can't just put someone on TV willy-nilly. So you give them ROH and you give them opportunities to get their reps and stuff and work on the AEW way. The AEW has a playbook. WWE has a playbook. The New York Giants play football one way. The New York Jets play football another way. So when you and I are talking about it, I don't think we've ever said ROH should become a developmental system so they can become like WWE. We've said they should have a developmental system like WWE has.
Right.
Which the system that would benefit AEW the most.
And we'll get to it. You referred to the injury earlier, Charlotte Flair, and you mentioned Tiffany Stratton. Shout out to, I think Ken Anderson trained her.
Yeah.
In St. Paul, yeah. He's awesome. Do you follow him on TikTok?
I follow him.
They do like 2 or 3 days a week. They live stream their training. They're at the academy. It's awesome.
I try to watch a lot. I watch Danny Cage up there in New Jersey. I think I watch Ken Anderson stuff. I watch CCW down here in Florida. I like to watch a lot of, and then a lot of the talent will send me a clip or something and say, hey, what do you think of this? So I like to watch people training and stuff. And we all have the same thing, right? It's some people just say it a different way, a different tone, a different delivery, but we're all trying to train everybody the same way. And here's the thing. No matter who trains you right now as an independent person, you're still going to have to learn the AEW way or the WWE way or the Ring of Honor way or New Japan's way, right? Yep. So, and I think everybody has to come to terms with no one's questioning your ability, but here's the playbook we run. But I think it would benefit AEW hugely to have a system like that, especially because they have the resources. It's not like they have to fish around for it. Now, I don't know where they stand with QT Marshall now that he's gone, or the Nightmare Factory or anything like that, but you got ROH, and I think that could become your, give your lesser known or lesser followed characters more opportunities to build their brand that way.
Well, I could tell you one thing. From somebody who's watched a lot of ROH, it's not the same ROH. I don't think, because the problem is now that AEW is trying to be ROH concept.
Yes.
right? Like on a non-independent scale of what ROH is doing, you can't just do that with both. I think they really gotta figure out how they can utilize it best. I don't have a pretty cool library of stuff when he bought it, I'm sure, but you got to think. I think you got to figure out what you could do to benefit that. And I think one thing that you said what might benefit AEW is if Tony Khan got off his phone. He spends a lot of time on his phone. So I'm going to share this video here. Him and our friend Disco Inferno got into it this week. I'm going to share a clip from K100, an awesome podcast. Friend Joe produces that. Let's see if we could find it here. Where is it? Tony Khan and Disco Inferno. Here we go.
Somewhere where he called you with that an irrelevant parasite.
I want to put everything.
No, but I think,
Going in, walking in the halls.
he took
and
a shot at it first, right? Like you said, maybe he said something like,
Let me tell you exactly what happened.
I'm going to show you right in a row.
I'll tell you exactly what
Right.
happened. So I'm visiting my mom, right?
right.
And I'm and when I come visit my mom, I usually just stay here on I just stay at my house. And it was Saturday night, so the UFC was on, Collision was on, there was a football game on. So I'm like on the computer in the recliner with the television on and stuff and I was going over FanDuel stats and stuff and things because I'm filling out my FanDuel lineups for Sunday afternoon. So I'm like just on the computer, right? And I'm going back and forth and I'm watching Collision, a little bit Collision. I'm just surfing and I got the UFC everything, right? And then I'm on Twitter and I'm watching Collision, like they have one of these Blue League matches, like Eddie and Claudio are wrestling each other, whatever. So, and it's just going on forever. The match is going on forever, right? And I'm just like, whatever. So I turn it off. Whatever. So Tony, later had tweeted, AEW fans, how are you feeling? Hashtag AEW Collision on at TNT Drama. And I tweeted, the show needs a reset. Okay, that's the way I feel. This show has been kind of stuck in the mud for the ratings haven't gone up in months. They're doing tournaments. There's a lot of guys Wardlow and stuff. They're still not. We do the reviews on the show, right? And I tell the stuff that we like and don't like. And the funny thing about this is that all these fans think I'm this hater and stuff and thing. When at the end of AEW, we literally say, "Hey, go out of your way and watch this." We'll say, you'll say that, I'll say, this is the stuff I liked, this is the stuff I didn't like. And there's always, every single week, there's at least some stuff I like. Nobody wants to talk about it because let's listen to our review, right? So then Tony tweets, then this was instantly, because I didn't really notice it, but I went back a couple minutes and I saw all of a sudden my notifications are blowing up. I'm like, here, so then Tony tweets that. This is the funniest thing about this, though. So he tweets, the belief that you're an irrelevant parasite unites the entire pro wrestling community. That he has to put hashtag AEW Collision. That's a funny little thing to put in a tweet like that, right? Hashtag Collision, right?
CI finds himself in them situations from time to time, doesn't he?
Well, the difference is when you're talking about it, and you and I do this is what we do every week, right? We review things, talk about it, have a discussion. So they're saying how they talk about it, watch this, don't watch this. But Glenn, of all people, and K-Dog knows this as well, the minute you type it, write it, put it out there, you open yourself to ridicule or people doing things. Wrestling fans, other people, but there's Tony Khan, of all the things he has to do in his life. European football, the Jacksonville Jaguars, his other businesses, a billionaire, AEW, ROH, all these things. He's going to let Disco Inferno get under his skin when the fact of it, and you said it earlier, sometimes good or bad as long as they're talking about you. So you have a guy who's on the air, they have a following, and he's letting you know he's watching the product, and he says, okay, it needs a reset. Instead of Tony taking the high road and saying, hey, love to have you down here and have you see your thoughts live.
Right.
Or how about being a smart businessman and not acknowledging it at all and not putting any wood on the fire? Instead, he makes Disco Inferno the most relevant, talked about thing on Twitter. And who comes out looking ridiculous in the whole thing? Not Glenn. You're not taking any money out of his pocket. You're not hurting him in any way. You just made him relevant by calling him irrelevant.
Probably got him some more downloads.
Instead of putting your talent over and your product and your things, you took the time during the show to call him an irrelevant parasite. Well, how irrelevant of a parasite can he be if you're acknowledging him?
Yeah.
So it goes back to that thing of, please, for the love of Pete. And like I told you, I met Tony once or twice early on when he was younger. And I know he's a fan of this business. I know I think I understand what he wants to do, but he has got to stay off this. And maybe he's looking at, I'm defending my kids. I'm defending this product. I'm defending the business. No, you're not. You're adding fuel to the fire of this independent controversy that goes on all over the place where wrestling fans, and this is where we're getting in trouble, and by we, I mean me, I'm saying Tony Khan, the wrestling fan, is getting caught up in this Twitter nonsense. But if wrestling rules apply here. So here's wrestling rules. If you call a guy an irrelevant parasite in a wrestling ring and then he beats you, you're a schmuck. Right? Now you're the one, and this guy's more relevant than anything in the world. So if you tell a guy, this is your last match and you're never going to walk again, that guy beats you and you don't walk out, then, it's and this is what happened again. Tony turned the tables on himself. And I don't think it brings a good light to it. And that ignites the fire for people to still talk. Punk's not there. And there's still negativity. Maybe Punk was not the issue. Maybe it's the mindset. But for the love of Pete, Tony Khan, all respect. Call me, send me a message. Love to talk to you. The product's going great. Stay off. Take it from someone who knows. Nothing good comes from social media. People get to beat you up and talk trash. But as soon as you put those people over, it ignites the fire and takes away from all the good that's going on.
Well, personally, I like the tweets. It gives us something to talk about.
So here's my next question. Let's play devil's advocate. Well, Daniel Bryan's the right
disciplinarian.
He's the judge, jury, and executioner on media posts. Why isn't he shutting Tony Khan down from doing this? Why is it just the talent he's watching?
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's the boss, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. Hey, when you're the boss, you can do those things, but you're taking away from your talent and product, in my opinion.
I just set the record straight here. Disco Inferno was a part of a lot of highly rated segments back in his day.
Listen, you say whatever you want, but when they talk about Disco Inferno, they're talking about the character. And the guy was a heat magnet.
Oh, yeah.
Good, bad, or indifferent, why you didn't like him, he was a heat magnet. And he's still getting that heat as Disco Inferno now.
Yep.
Because you got people 20 years since he's been in the ring or whatever it is, and you call him irrelevant parasite, but now he was trending all week on Twitter.
Next topic I have on the agenda here. There's been a lot of rumblings this week. This was a Wrestling News Co. article that TNA has signed somebody huge. Have you seen this? Heard this?
Yes.
We don't know who it is, but I'll just piggyback off the article. They have something big planned for next pay-per-view event, Hard to Kill, on January 13th. Obviously, TNA will be back. Impact Wrestling is taking a back seat. TNA is coming back. Yeah. This article is basically saying that there's been a big tease from Scott D'Amore this week. Yeah, big talent signing was very close to being completely done. Worlds will collide is how he's quoted it. We know that as of today, several former WWE wrestlers, 90-day clause is up. It's also been reported that, I don't really know how, but TNA has come across, I don't know if it's investors or what, but they've had some money to spend. They have some money to spend now.
Yeah, and that's the understanding is they have a little a little stronghold on some funds where they can bring in and secure some contracts and some talent. I mean, and it really could be, I don't want to say it could really be a lot of different people. It could be maybe a handful, right? It could be.
We know it's not CM Punk.
We know it's not Punk. Right? Goldberg's out there. I think the big front runner is Dolph Ziggler. But I'm always weary of the big free agent signings because we've heard so many big news and all this. And while it's great, is it really big? But I think Ziggler would be a good one for TNA.
Yeah, I'd like to see him do something. I mean, how long's he been gone? He's only been gone 90 days, or is his longer? Has that only been 90 days?
He's up. There are a lot. I don't see, I don't know who it could be. And I'm always shocked myself when they come out and I go, wow, I didn't see that coming. Or,
well, you know who it's not, who you thought it could be, or you thought it could work out and do well. It's not CM Punk.
It's not Punk, which I thought he would have done well there, but
Jeff 1, Bill 0 on that one.
Yeah, good on you, because
you really thought that you really did think it was kind of more of a possibility it'd be Impact, though. That's what I got from you.
I did. I thought for sure. I'll be honest, and this is why I say shame on me, because I bought into all the negativity surrounding it and going, wow, nobody wants that. But that's why I said just a few minutes ago, that negativity still seems to be around there without Punk. So I was thinking, okay, where can he go and do his thing and all this? But CM Punk's cleared the air and made it he's explained his position and everything so great since being back in the WWE. Egg on my face, because I bit into the whole thing, and I really did think that he was going to be a great fit. And I still think he would have been a great fit.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad to see him back in the WWE. So this better be big news for TNA, because they could use the boost in things, because they could very quickly become the number 3 or the number 2 company.
Are they the number 3 now? I don't know. It's a good question.
I still say NXT's in that close.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
But I would say it's WWE, AEW, and then TNA.
Yeah, I gotcha. Man, so I think that we say this every week, but they got to get on a better TV station.
Well, so my understanding is they are, right? They've got some other platforms coming up. So
there's some talk of it. Yeah, man, that would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. I tell you, just haven't recovered from losing that Spike TV.
Yeah.
That was over 10 years ago now, wasn't it? Wow.
And Scott D'Amore is a workhorse. So he's constantly working on that. And I know he's got good people around him. That's always in the thing of, okay, where can we go and what's going to be best for our product and our talent and, what they put out. So I hope they have a great 2024 coming up and things really pick. I'm interested to see who it is. I know they talked about a lot of talent that have signed or re-signed to stay there. And so it's going to be interesting.
Going to be Sergeant Slaughter. Okay. Next on the list I have here, and you touched upon it briefly, we'll show a video, unfortunate thing that happened. This is fan footage of Charlotte Flair. We're watching the moment where, is there a commercial break, I believe, where she was hurt. This is now, she's showing, as the matches ended, I think they're presenting a promo backstage. It's sounding to get Charlotte out of the ring. But man, this is very unfortunate. We actually just heard right before this that Charlotte Flair had got a very sizable, potentially the biggest contract for women's had for wrestling.
Yeah. So when watching that, because that happened during the commercial.
Correct.
And so when they came back,
did a roll up.
And as soon as Charlotte, and the sequence they went into, I looked at Lacey right away and go, she's hurt.
Yeah.
So clearly she's hurt and you didn't know the extent of it. And then when they went to the finish of the match, because Bailey, I think, was a quick send. She had the piece in her ear because Bailey kept messing with it, trying to get direction on where to go to stay in the camera shot. But I knew when they stayed on Asuka on the outside that they had to get Charlotte down and out. Unfortunate, but like this is the thing that happens. Charlotte's a workhorse. She's going. And unfortunately, everybody says if you're good at what you do, eventually something like this catches up to you. But knowing her, the athlete that she is, the kind of person she is, when she was really putting over how much she was trying to get to her feet, you knew she was hurt.
A lot of people are saying she was limping along beforehand, but I thought that was just selling whatever happened in the match.
Yeah, it could have been, because if I understand all the reports, it's ACL, MCL, PCL. So she completely blew her knee out.
Meniscus. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where she probably had a little tear and you felt it. And then by that time, that spot came. But it goes back to that thing of the old timer mentality of, do we really need all those things all the time?
Oh, you're saying all the risk?
Yeah.
Talking risk? Yeah.
Yeah. Do we really need that? Listen.
During a commercial break?
Yes. And here's the thing. I used to argue with Charlotte all the time because she always wanted the moonsault to the outside. Ashley, we're in a commercial break or we're in Sebring, Florida. No one cares if you do that. They're here to see you, right? Do your thing. Let's be safe and go on to the next night. But they have this great energy and they want to do it and they're going to show people they can do it. I'm going to give it to you every night. And sometimes that's what happens. But and then you just hear, right, we hear she's out, and then we hear this week she just inked another long-term big money deal.
Yeah, it's like the first big deal, I think, or maybe the first deal TKO was involved in.
Yeah. So I hope she, and here's the other part of it too. The only time you ever get to rest is when you're injured. So
I feel like she just got back, didn't she?
Yeah, and I know she'll put her time to good use.
Yeah. She will.
And this opens the door for some people to step up and step in and
yeah, let's talk about that. So first of all, Charlotte Flair is one of the best ever. Let's just say it. Unfortunate. I always like it when she's around and in the mix.
Yep.
Just it's like one of those people that she brings a certain legitimacy, I guess, to
she makes it better.
Everything that she does.
Yep.
It's believable. It's no games. Just a real legit person. I think we talked about that. So it opens up an avenue for somebody else, possibly. Yep. You talked about Tiffany. Okay, so WWE has a lot of cards in the work. Like 10 years ago, we were talking like, man, what are they going to do when things change? Yep. When these people retire, when they're done, WWE's going to be in a really bad spot. Well, they've really put themselves in a position where they have a couple different things they can go to at all times. So I think that's the great thing about what WWE has done. And I do think on the flip side of that, and we'll go ahead and segue into the next injury, you talked about it on AEW earlier. So what are they going to do if something bad happens? And we'll go ahead and share a clip here from Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, the podcast, when they're talking about Kenny Omega. Obviously, Dave Meltzer's close to Kenny Omega.
Yeah. I guess the biggest news is probably the Kenny Omega injury, Dave.
That injury, it's
or illness.
Yeah, diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis.
Yeah. So I did not hear if he had surgery yet on it, but he was rushed to the hospital Friday, right? Yeah, because I was just leaving when I heard leaving Hawaii, and he had been in a lot of pain, and he thought what happened was, you probably all remember, is that he had the hernia that was really, really bad, which caused him that long period off. And he had been hurting really, really bad, and he had presumed it was a hernia. He had bloating, which he presumed was, that he thought he may have messed up on his diet somehow, and eaten something wrong. And, but he, he kept, training on it, working on it. did the match with Ethan Page, he was hurting really bad on Wednesday when he did the promo with Jericho. That by that point it was really bad. So he went to the hospital and found out he had diverticulitis. It was a really bad situation. I mean, in the sense of, if he had not gone in, another day or so, it could have been horrendous. I guess he's fine. I heard from him and, once, and, just kind of said that, like, he in pain, had trouble sleeping, but he just thought it was the hernia acting up again.
Mm-hmm.
And once he found out it wasn't, he said there was, could have been really, really bad complications. So he's, I don't know how long he's going to be out, and I don't think anyone does, but it was a very, very serious situation by the time he got to the hospital.
Did I segue into that nicely?
Yeah. I think he did. And this is the same thing Brock Lesnar went through years ago.
Correct.
Right? They have the same thing. And it couldn't have been very serious. He could have died. That's the serious, you can die from that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's okay. I assume he's okay. He doesn't talk to me like he talks to Dave, but yeah, so it goes back to the thing. Okay, somebody's out. Who steps up? But it's kind of like it doesn't happen really there that much. You know what I mean? It's like if someone's there, that spot doesn't get filled or doesn't take place. That being said, I hope he does rest up and get healed up, because he is one in a million talent. And I heard Jericho, did his thing the other day, saying, "Okay, get well." And I think reassuring everybody, that the fans, that it wasn't a storyline or something like that. So I thought that was a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kenny Omega's so good.
yeah.
He's really faced these injuries in the last year and a half. Such a workhorse. Makes you wonder if he's going to continue to go at the work rate and perform the way that he has always done.
Well, that's the thing. And I think you and I have talked about this in the past. We have these guys guys and girls who come from New Japan and have these great, Juice Robinson, right? We'll use him as the other example. Over in Japan, doing really well. Then they come, they're here and they're doing okay. And the workload's different. It's more lighter, but it's, they're physical and all these other things. And all of a sudden they're getting banged up. A lot of the guys in AEW, their bump cards are full, which, here's a whole different conversation. This is what makes Jericho still so damn unique.
Yeah.
That he's going strong, and Christian Cage and guys like that. But there's a lot of caps that their bump cards are full, and now they're getting injured. And I think AEW finds themselves in a place where they have a buttload of talent, but they don't have people ready to step into that role. I think they're pigeonholing themselves a little bit.
What did they say last week in their argument? Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer said it's sports-based wrestling, Bill.
Yeah. But I tell you, while we're on AEW, I told you I was going to go down the ROH rabbit hole.
Yep, go for it.
Here's the guy, and I said this, I talked about Swerve Strickland.
Mm-hmm.
How he's really got my eye now, and I'm enjoying it.
Come along.
So, again, this week, I'm into the stuff he's doing. I thought he had another good outing. He can talk. He's intelligent. I like this Swerve Strickland we're seeing right now. That being said, I've known about the Briscoes for 20 years.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I'm the first to admit I'm not an ROH historian. I know the talent. I've looked at the talent. I've seen when the brothers came in to do like dark matches or tryouts and stuff, and there's always been conversations around the Briscoes. But watching my man the other night, the evolution of what he's become, and him and his brother and what they built, and how he worked the other night,
yeah,
I thought proved this is why they were one of the best tag teams in the world.
Yep.
But I was so happy to see him out there doing that, and it was something, and this is where I guess I'm critical. It was something I could get behind. He wasn't the whirling dervish and all this about. He was telling a story. They were working hard, and his stuff was crisp, and he looked like he was just in the pocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I sat there and I went, well, this is why I was a fan then, and this is why I'm a fan now. And then it makes me want to go down the ROH road and start looking at some old stuff and going, okay,
Yeah.
you know, but kudos to Brother Briscoe for doing his thing and finding that reset button. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big fan. There's some things I'm really interested in the AEW lately, and there's a couple cats that are really bringing me to that point. And then there's somebody who's just taking me completely out of it. And I'll say it, and then you can take tonight to talk about it. You could take a week to think about it. You could take 2 months to think about it. I don't understand this women's division and this Io, is that her name? They're putting all this pepper on this Io again. I don't get it.
I won't go too deep into that, but I definitely think they've lost. And they actually didn't start out bad after they got their legs underneath them with the women's division. But it's just gone off the tracks so bad. I don't even know what's happened. Like I was trying to think about that the other day. We talked about the tweets that Britt Baker sent out, and I started thinking, like, where did this go wrong? Like, what happened? I honestly don't know.
Yeah,
something's changed.
It's a shame
the way they've structuring the whole women's division there and the way they're utilizing them. I don't know if there was some analytical decisions that led to this. I don't know, Bill. It's just really weird.
No Statlander, no Willow, no Ruby, no Saraya, no Britt Baker.
Yeah.
All the ones that we've seen, and now Thunder Rosa's coming back and all these things.
Yeah.
You know, the focus is on this Toni Storm thing, which in my opinion, this thing she did with Io this week hurt Toni Storm to know it. And it's just the way I look at things. So I don't understand. That's just my two cents on the AEW stuff. There's a lot of really good stuff going on that excites me, and there's some things that baffle me. So and it baffles me to the point where I'm not interested in following it to see where it's going.
Yeah. They got to figure something out.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's consistency would be a start, but they really relied heavily on Rampage for those matches and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. They gotta. I don't know all the stats behind it. I don't know what all their fans are saying, but it seems like it's something they want. It's just they got to go about it the right way. They have some talent there.
Yeah.
They don't. They have. Okay, let's just be honest. They have a lot of people in general.
They have a lot of people
that are never going to get the time of day.
Right.
And I think that's frustrating enough as it is, but it really impacts the women.
Yeah, I'm a Willow fan. So the fact that Willow's not involved more, and then this Io comes out of nowhere again after being gone for 6 months or 7 months or whatever it is, it kind of goes, it's like the Wardlow thing. Where the hell is Wardlow? Again, they keep repackaging him and rebuilding, and then they come back. So you don't, as a fan, you don't get behind these people when you see him. So Io comes out. She's supposed to be a big surprise. No one gave a tinker's damn that she came out, and it's just been a fart in church the past couple weeks that she's been out. But so just to be fair across the board, let's go back to WWE this week, and there's new women's tag team champions.
Yep.
Boo! Boo! No one cares about the Katana and I'm not judging. Like, I can't buy it. I can't buy into it.
We could go down this rabbit hole all day. I could talk about Ring of Honor like these started, the Briscoes. I could talk about that all day, and I could talk about
go to this other stuff, and it's like,
they're
missing the boat on Chelsea Green.
I
think they've missed the boat, and they've done. I think the damage is done to Piper Niven, where everybody now comes out. Everybody just knows she's a position player. But they put it on these two girls here, and I just feel like they've just let us know that the tag team division, the women's tag team division, is back to being null and void. But I wanted to spread the love across the company, so I did.
Well, what they can't do is pretend like it's a lower tier title for the women. And that's what it's come across as way it's been booked as of recent times. It's like all these other people are going to kind of dabble in the main picture. You got Asuka. I'm not going to include all the people because I can't. Even all of Damage Control now. Bailey, all of them, right? Becky, there's everybody. But then you just have this free-floating titles out there, and you got to utilize some of that talent you have that are next tier. I'm saying next tier because that's the way they're booking it.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it feels like.
So you're telling me Zoe Stark and the Queen of Spades couldn't become champions and beat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven? You're telling me. So now I'm. So they give you a backstage segment with the Queen of Spades and Zoe Stark talking to Natty and the other girl. Why would I be interested in that either? Because they just told me the whole thing is once Sonya Deville got hurt and they split it up, that I think they kind of washed away.
Yeah, that's really affected things. Yeah, we appreciate you listening live. We got a lot of questions coming in, Bill. If you want to power through and do a little bit more so we don't have to do anything next week. Okay, so we'll start wrapping this episode up soon. But before we go into the Honest Dan Pro Wrestling history, I had one more clip to share for you. It is from Chris Van Vliet. Been on some of my podcasts. He's a good guy. Chavo Guerrero was on there this week. And he had some interesting comments. I picked this out for you to hear. Actually, this was me regarding Eddie Guerrero, kind of the his legacy and things like that.
People really trying to capitalize off of the Guerrero name and Eddie's name. You guys see it all the time. I mean, I just saw it on a house show the other day I was on, and they started doing Eddie spots, and I'm like, why are you doing that when I was next after you guys? And they're like, oh yeah, we didn't think about that. I'm like, guys, I get it, but you just did it, and everybody thought about Eddie. They didn't think about you. And they're like, yeah, you're right. But I see that a lot. And if anybody can do it, Dominic can do it, and Ray can do it because of what, their history with them and stuff. But, they're doing an awesome job with it. And which I like is that they kind of let it go. They didn't continue doing it. He's still not saying, that was very prevalent in the early parts of their storyline. But now I don't even think Dom's even really...
He does the frog splash.
He does a frog splash. He looks
just like Eddie's.
100%. He's just got a great frog splash.
He does.
Yeah. And he knows, doing that frog splash, it knocks the crap out of you. It hurts you sometimes more than it hurts the person down there. So
he doesn't do the Three Amigos anymore.
Good. I like that. Thank you very much. Thank you for not stealing everything.
But is it, and obviously he's paying homage to Eddie and your family. Is there...
Well, he's also collecting a big paycheck as well. And I don't know if the paycheck wasn't there, would he still be doing it, or would he have moved on to imitating somebody else? That's what I always kind of wonder about. It's like, okay, hold on a second. Because, the zeros behind those numbers are probably pretty big, especially right now, the way WWE is paying. To me, it's like, also, it's great, awesome, you're paying homage, but what's your motive?
Is there any part of that bothers you?
When Eddie's daughters aren't reaping the benefits, yes. To me, I'm always looking, and if anybody should be making the money off of Eddie Guerrero, it should be Eddie's daughters.
I'm sure they're still making money off of the merchandise.
I don't know if that's correct.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if that's correct. At least talking to them about it.
Wow.
I'm not them. I'm not the say-all, be-all, but that's something that I would definitely wish that they were.
Yeah.
If that's their dad, they shouldn't have to worry about, that should have been in their, his will, his persona, his name and likeness should be to them.
Yeah.
So he did clarify after that the family, somebody is getting money, the merchandise and all that. It's just not his children.
So, one, I'm a huge Chavo Guerrero fan.
Yeah, he needs to get back in the podcasting world.
Yeah. Well, he's too damn busy making
Yeah, dude.
number one movies and everything else he's been doing with Young Rock, and he's just tearing it up with his comic books and the things that he's doing. The guy's brilliant. The thing, and I know this is a topic that he's answered a few times before. The issue I have is, and I think he said it right, when Ray was paying homage to him and then Dominic in the story, it made sense. They tied it in, and then it kind of, it segued out of it. But there's so many people doing Eddie's stuff. Now, did Eddie invent the suplex and do it 3 times? No, but the Three Amigos was a staple of his.
Yeah.
The shoulders. So Escobar does it. The other ones do it. Girls do it. Guys do it. AEW, they do it. They're chanting Eddie's name everywhere. And that's the exact, so business-wise, Chavo laid it out. They're not cheering for you. They're cheering for Eddie. And there may be a right place and a time at a paid live event or something like that, if it was part of the storyline. But
yeah,
to his point, other than Ray or Dom, everybody else should stay away from it, especially if Chavo's on the card.
that was a little crazy to hear.
I'm listening to that. I'm going,
yeah.
Why in this day and age do you, and that's the thing. So we can go down a whole nother one of my famous rabbit holes of why do you even have to say that to these people? Chavo's in the arena. Chavo's in your dressing room. Chavo's on the card. What are you doing? And so that's the mentality of it. But Eddie's stuff is now prostituted everywhere. I mean, every company does it. Everybody does it. And I believe that they're all paying homage to Eddie.
Yeah.
But it's a cheap pop. It's an easy pop, but they're not popping for the person doing it. They're popping for Eddie. So once they stop doing Eddie's stuff, no one cares about what they do. So I get that point. As far as, the benefits in it all, I know absolutely nothing about that, but I really would I think it should be the girls that are reaping the rewards of their father's work.
Yeah, that was not a WWE thing. That's allegedly a mom thing.
Yeah.
So won't go into that too much because I don't know much about it.
I agree. I'll stay away from that.
But Chavo's awesome.
Love him.
Chavo Guerrero fan.
Love him.
So Steve, James, Joe, we see your questions. We're going to do a few on this day in pro wrestling histories. We're going to wrap up this just for the podcast version. Then we'll open right back up with another one immediately. Let's do some on this day in pro wrestling history real quick.
Okay.
This is the first one, Bill. This was one that I could not wait to show you. I'm not going to lie. I was so excited. Get to it here. This was on the 15th of December, 1987, because we missed, I guess this is in last week. The second ever Slammy Awards took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Rather than the awards themselves, the event is best remembered for Vince McMahon's performance of Stand Back live on stage. Are you ready?
Is a man who has repeatedly proven that he cannot talk, and who tonight will prove that he can't sing either. I was just a boy. Everybody told me what I should do, who I should be.
Him dancing with the women there is epic.
It goes back to that conversation we always have. Vince would never ask you to do something he wouldn't do.
If Macho Man's really playing that trumpet or whatever he had there, then I'm going to be going nuts.
Look at the heavy hitters. Junkyard Dog, Jake the Snake, the Killer Bees. The only guy I believe who could play an instrument on that set was Hogan playing the bass.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. That stuff is, see, to me, that's wrestling entertainment. That's at its finest. But to see Vince doing that is great.
Your buddy Lance Storm was quick to reply to this post to me and let me know that they did try to build this as like the 37th annual Slammies. When really it was the second. But nevertheless, that's awesome.
Second to this is when Vince was showing, and by showing, teaching Tyrus how to dance with the Funkadactyls.
That is awesome.
Vince came out during the day and goes, "It's like this." Oh my gosh, it's the best thing ever.
That is amazing.
The best thing ever.
Let's fast forward at 10 years now. On December 15th, 1997, Vince McMahon cut a pre-taped promo on Monday Night Raw. He announced the WWE would be changing. It was WWF would be changing creative direction away from clear-cut good guys and bad guys and showing more of an attitude. More accurately, is also kind of the beginning of the attitude.
It has been said that anything can happen here in the World Wrestling Federation, but now more than ever, truer words have never been spoken. This is a conscious effort on our part to open the creative envelope, so to speak, in order to entertain you in a more contemporary manner. Even though we call ourselves sports entertainment because of the athleticism involved, the key word in that phrase is entertainment. We in the WWF think that you, the audience, are quite frankly tired of having your intelligence insulted. We also think that you're tired of the same old simplistic theory of good guys versus bad guys. Surely the era of the superhero who urge you to say your prayers and take your vitamins is definitely passé. Therefore, we've embarked upon a far more innovative and contemporary creative campaign that is far more invigorating and extemporaneous than ever before. As the times have changed, so have we. I'm happy to say that this new vibrant creative direction has resulted in a huge increase in television viewership. We would like to thank you for watching. Raw and the War Zone are definitely the cure for the common show.
You were hanging out with the other guys on the other show. Do you remember this?
Yeah. What was it at that time? Hogan was with us, right? So that's where the prayers and the vitamins thing is passe. And they said
also on this day, exact same day with you guys, WCW, Bret Hart made his debut in a very lackluster storyline where he made the special guest referee. It was such a bad day.
Yeah. And Vince coming out and saying, we're about to change it. And that's what happened.
Crazy. Dude, when he came out, Bret Hart's thing there was so flat.
This is like when you have this on this day, these things, like, to me, they happened yesterday. And then you look back at how long ago they happened. It blows my mind.
I agree, man. Even for me, as watching it for a long time, like, even to me, it does not seem like that long ago.
It blows my mind.
I just don't know why they thought anybody wanted to see Larry Zbyszko and Eric Bischoff have a match. But that's another thing for another time. We have a few more we don't have clips for here. There was an Inferno match on the 17th with Kane and MVP. I do have clips, but we just won't show it all. So if you want to check any of this stuff out, go to On This Day in Pro Wrestling History on any social media platform and check it out. But yeah, MVP and Kane had a cool Inferno match. Fast forwarding, though, to the big moment here on the 18th in 1995. This is after being let go by the WWF. Alundra Blaze Medusa made her return on WCW Monday Nitro. The return went down in wrestling history as it saw Medusa, still in possession of the WWF Women's Championship, dump the title belt into the trash on live TV.
You better have your wrestling tights on tonight. But first of all, look at that little guy. He's excited about...
All right. Can it, everyone? You too, bat dog. I am Medusa, always have been Medusa, and always will be Medusa. This is the WWE Women's Championship belt.
Whoa!
That indeed it is.
Trash can.
And that's what I think of the WWE Women's Championship belt. I am now in the WCW, and they used to call me Alundra Blaze, but not anymore, because this is where the big boys play, and now this is where the big girls play.
Holy smokes! Medusa, the WWE Women's Championship in the belt right here on Nitro. The belt in the trash can on Nitro. I tell you what, I'm in shock.
Oh, seat covers just got sucked up on that one in Connecticut, didn't they?
Wow! I tell you what.
What a doll. Now, wait a minute. I'm getting tired of all
Man
these wrestlers
alive.
charging up here to the announcer stand.
Bobby Heenan was the best part of the whole thing. This is what he did the whole time.
He's saying, "Oh shit." What a moment, though, man. It kind of a lot of people. Okay, so when I posted this, a lot of things said like this really set up a lot of the things that followed. The Monday Night Wars, the Montreal Screwjob. A lot of people alluded to this as being the moment that really set a lot of things that were going to happen in place.
Yeah, this was a big move at the time. This was looking at it now, it looks hokey, but when it was happening, it was one of those holy crap moments. And I think the reactions from Heenan and everything put it over, but Medusa set the tone, and I'm a huge Medusa fan, and I don't believe she'll ever get the credit for getting the recognition she deserves for the women in this business. But
even with the Hall of Fame induction,
she'll never get the recognition she deserves. But this was a big moment, and you're right, it like kickstarted a lot of things.
The next moment here was big for me. We talked about Ring of Honor earlier. So when I shared this clip this week, it had a lot of people that may be newer fans to the business. They found this very intriguing because of, and you'll see, this was on the 18th in 2010. Ring of Honor Final Battle took place in the Manhattan Center in New York City. In the main event, El Generico, which is Sami Zayn, defeated Kevin Owens, in a fight without honor. The loss meant Steen was banished from ROH, and if Generico were to lose, then he would have to unmask.
Oh my God! Tom Sinclair!
He's out, kick to the nuts. And the package pile driver from Kevin Steen, but we have no referee. Here comes Remsburg. Shoulder up. Oh.
And now,
package pile driver on the chair.
The package pile driver. Oh my God!
Generico lands on his feet.
Yakuza kick!
Oh, is he going to go for the brainbuster on the turnbuckle? He's never been able to hit it.
In all their wars, he's never done it. He does it!
Steen tumbles to the floor.
Turnbuckle brainbuster!
Brings him in. Cover.
He got one! The original mask of El Generico, the one that was ripped from his face. Kevin Steen has showed Generico the mask after everything these two men have been through. Oh my God!
Ole, 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 ole. That was a cool moment, man, watching that. You like the brainbuster on the turnbuckle? Should have been the finish, huh? That's what you were thinking. I know you're thinking that.
But that was the thing. That was that, and we've talked about this in a lot of other episodes. That was the mindset of these guys. That's what they went out and did at Ring of Honor, and we were trying to tell them, you don't need to do that here, right? Let it build to something. Just because you did it and that's what you're known for, where you were, doesn't mean that you can't do less. And still,
they wanted to get that mask spot in there, is what it was.
My gosh! But
vicious chair shot.
They did some, but you said it earlier. I believe AEW is trying to become ROH,
which is okay. Which is one thing, but then ROH can't be I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now.
But
yeah,
you see it there. But those guys, listen, you can't take anything away from how hard everybody worked in ROH.
Some good matches. I think it was really the crowd and the support that made Ring of Honor so big.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so big. And everybody working together. I think is what made that place really special during that time.
That's what I haven't heard any difference of opinion. I understood there was a tight knit group that was always there. And again, it's not saying they all, had Thanksgiving dinner together, but they were all of the same mindset and understanding about the business and what they wanted to do. So,
well, it was up for the taking there to be at number 2 or number 3, and they definitely went for it after WCW went down.
Yeah.
On the 19th, we won't share this clip, but of course, Bret Hart took the kick from Goldberg. Roddy Piper came out, mimicked a Montreal Screwjob finish. That was kind of silly. We've talked about that a million times, the Bret Hart kick, the Bill Goldberg situation.
Yeah.
What in honor of Christmas, though, we'll go to the 20th here. WWE taped Christmas from Baghdad at Camp Victory in Baghdad, Iraq. The show was later renamed as the first Tribute to the Troops event. It aired on SmackDown's time slot on Christmas to happen to fall that day. Vince McMahon received a stunner from Santa Claus. So in honor of Christmas, before we close up shop today, we'll show this. Yeah, this is really... Tribute to the Troops is every year now. This is what started it.
Right.
Santa Claus making his way through this sea of troops here at Camp Victory. And throughout the show, you're going to meet troops from all over the United States. In fact, all over the world.
Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, Santa. Hey, Santa. I'm talking to you. You don't have a present for Mr. McMahon. That's not good. I want an explanation from you. I mean, when I was a little kid, you passed over my house every year. You never stopped at my house, and I really wasn't that bad a kid. I would suggest then you turn your big fat ass around and get out of my ring. Hey! I'll kick Santa Claus's ass. I'll kick your ass. It doesn't matter whose ass I'm going to kick. I'll tell you that right now.
Santa Claus is from Texas now, not the North Pole. In Baghdad, and our U.S. troops are going nuts. Hey, Taz, if you think about it, Stone Cold sort of embodies what the armed forces are all about, kicking ass and taking names.
Oh, somebody fed that line to Michael Cole. I have no doubt somebody fed that line to Michael Cole.
Oh, yeah.
Man, so this is actually pretty mainstream attention when they did this.
Yeah.
They went over there, and you hear a lot of humbling experience about Tribute to the Troops. Did you ever do any of that?
I never went overseas. I was never, and I'll just say it frankly, I was never a big enough star to go overseas. I wasn't ever figured into that. Not that I didn't volunteer my time or anything like that. The Tribute to the Troop stuff that I did work on was stateside, and I was a producer by then. So we did some, but it's the time you spend with those men and women and the people you get to know in the back and get to ask them their story, and they share with you. And they just did the one this year around Thanksgiving. They had JBL back on, and JBL was the conduit to making this whole thing happen way back when. So that was really cool. I think it's one of the best things that the company itself does. And there's horror stories about the travel over there.
Oh, I'm sure.
But getting there was because they went on I don't even know what kind of planes they call them. Cargo planes.
Yeah. Probably,
They were sleeping on cargo boxes. They were sleeping on the floors. They were sleeping on, long benches and stuff. So it wasn't a pretty thing, but everybody who's been there and had that opportunity and shared those experiences, it's life-changing.
I thought that was a cool moment to share here as we wrap up this episode.
Really cool.
If you're listening live, you get a treat because we're running over and going to do a short episode for Christmas. We'll release it Christmas. I guess it's for Christmas. I say that. This will come out Christmas week, but it's a holiday season episode because we will not be live next week. We will be enjoying times with our family before we get back at it. But I might stream this out during the same time slot just to be consistent. I might stream the next one out during the same time slot. So
love it.
Yeah. So Bill, man, it's been another awesome episode. I hope everybody enjoys their Christmas, and I hope you and your family enjoy your Christmas. But it's been awesome being able to. My gift has been getting to meet you, man. That's been one of the great things this year. So I appreciate it as always.
Well, thank you, man. I wish you and your daughters a Merry Christmas and everybody there. And I mirror those things. Like I'm so thankful for you, man, and reaching out when you did, and taking a chance, and we connected, and getting to know you and work with you has been awesome. And this is a great way to end this year and start the new year. So just thank you for that, and I just wish a happy holidays to you and your family and everybody else.
Everybody else listening, we appreciate it. If you're listening live, stay on. The fun part's about to come.
Oh yeah, don't go away.
Yeah, we're gonna power through and get some time in here, and make sure you check it out because they've got some fun things in store from a lot of the listeners. So yeah. Anyways, Merry Christmas, everybody, and thanks for joining us along with this experience. Until next time, keep being you and keep being great.